And welcome back to the roundtable discussion topic for today. Animated J, please remind everybody what our discussion topic is in this wonderful
Glo-
roundtable.
Gloving integrating with other communities. So,
Fant-
what are your thoughts?
Fantastic. And we do have a wide spectrum of that. Jump, who is absolute like rave or die to the end, like will be the first person in at the festival and also the last person to leave the festival every day of the festival throughout. Like just techno stage all the time, all day, and I love it. It's great. And Lust is someone who has dabbled in and does dabble in so many different disciplines and communities and flow arts and uh, dance styles and all kinds of things. So we have a very vast spectrum to explore this topic. And I can see Lust is literally chomping at the bit, so I'm gonna shut up and let her go off.
And to give a little context, this question was inspired from our last two Glovers, Magi, I think, did you say?
Magi.
Magi,
Maggie.
Magi, and Tomo, because both of them were using the same music, but had total different approaches. And it was just, yeah. So, Lust, how would you like to start this off?
How should I start this off? I have a lot to say. I guess if we're looking at those two videos, right? We see how tutting has transformed over the years and has been adding new concepts, I guess, to the arsenal that Glovers have. Tutting being a huge one. There's a large amount of Glovers who work on big king tuts, and a lot of people feel when they're giving a light show that almost distracts from the effect a light show has on someone. Uh, uh, Having the lights have purpose opposed to doing moves, doing concepts with lights on to maybe add a little bonus effect. So, in my experience, I started tutting very early on, and that definitely shaped part of my style. I was known for tutting for a while, and then I started poi, and there's all these pedals. The coach Vincent Van Flo teaches these flower pedals. I've actually taken a class with him, and a lot of these pedals are actually inspired by the flow art of poi. Doing concept like triketras, doing moves where the tips of your fingers line up and go in circles, etc. Um, it's very interesting to see Glovers take. I know many Glovers who spin poi. I know Glovers who do kendama. I know Glovers who tut and dance, and it's really interesting to see how their side hobbies, their other hobbies, or even things that they might be doing professionally affect how they give light shows.
What has been your biggest influence on your gloving outside of gloving?
Ooh, that's hard. That's
It's meant to be.
that's really hard. Probably. I mean, in terms of community, it would definitely be tutting, the tutting community. I definitely look up to tut gods. I look up to all my fam on TM, and then I definitely follow things like Geometric Madness and Status Silver videos, things like that, just to get inspiration. But anytime that I'm taking inspiration from these videos, I always have to remember the core concept of gloving is having purpose for the lights. If you have no purpose with a light on your finger, then you should be doing it, finger styles, right? What is the effect that the lights on your fingers give? And how can you implement other styles to inspire you to add to that effective gloving?
That's interesting. Totally. Now, I know, Jump, you're more from my understanding, like in the raves, like deeper in just the gloving light show aspect versus like like jump.
Dance communities.
Exactly. So what are your thoughts on this?
As far as how do I feel like
So
how they're blending together?
so you've been as gloving has drawn from all these communities over the years, you've just been on the receiving end of this influx of different ideas and concepts into gloving. So just as someone as seeing it in other people's light shows or whatever you pulled from it for your own light shows, you know, how do you feel? Like what do you think about it? What do you notice? What sticks out?
I mean, I guess I don't really know what to say about it because I don't know the background of it. Again, like how Teddy said, like, I just know like rave, rave, rave. No, it's not that. It's just the fact that some people they can really make the like you said, the dance community or like whatever styles that they're doing blend together with their gloving. And if it works well and it looks good, then I'm all for it. But
Do you have a
when I
preference? Like
have a preference is what?
like when you see like if you see someone uh giving a light show, right? Or if you're watching a light show, is your opinion affected by how many communities that influence? Like you can say like, oh, this person is like for example, Tomo's light show was like a light show, like versus my. Oh yes, Jay, go ahead.
Here's a question for you. So, in the popping world, the older the generation is, they start to kind of feel ways about how things are going. Do you feel anything about how gloving is going? How now people are incorporating tutting, poi, even whacking, Or do you feel like, man, maybe we need to kind of step back and come back to the origins? What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I didn't know that it was going like that far into like poi. I'm not like really like that far into it, but like kind of sort of. I mean, again, it's a new generation and I can't like, really like, say don't do this, you can only do that just because of, where I came from and like what I started from. But because like, that's my background and how we started. But again, everything's just evolving as like, days go on and loving. I mean, if we just stuck in the same era as like, gloving, just doing the same stuff that we were doing before, we wouldn't be like where we are now, like, doing impacts, doing the flails, like, there's so many other types of things that, come all together. And, again, it's just like, within that, you're able to learn new things and able to branch off and, learn new concepts. And that's kind of like, what ends up making yourself because like you can't have just like, impactors, um whatever, tutters and flail people, waves, whips and all that. Can't have them all be the same because everybody has to have their own type of style in order to be an original type of glover, originality. If we all had the same thing, we'd just be the same type of person throwing the same type of shows each and every like, time that, we gave a show. It would be the same thing, like, whether it be like, me and Lust, throwing a show, if we were doing the same type of like styles and whatever, be the same thing. Doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to have that overall, like, branching out, I guess, because people are finding within, what they want to do.
Mm. Do you feel that gloving is still keeping its essence, its original essence, even though it's evolving and changing and etc.?
In a sense, yes, I do. It's very, it blows my mind to see like just how it is. Just, I mean, right now we're not able to go to events and everything, but we're still all like, super connected on like, Facebook or, within like, groups or whatever. Sometimes if you're able to have it, sometimes have meetups. So it's pretty crazy to see how it branched out because like, like I said, started back in 2008 to seeing where it is now. It's crazy. Like it's beyond like, anything I could ever like even imagine it to have become.
Teddy?
Oh, so I wanted to add to that actually. It was not always like that. I think there was an interim period of a few years where the older generation of Glovers had no interest in being anywhere near the younger generation of Glovers. There was this
Oh yeah,
huge
that
there
was
was this huge rift and disconnect for a couple
in
years.
2010 to like maybe a little more so after, I would say. What do we say?
I would even go. I wouldn't even say 2010. I think 2010. I think there wasn't enough gap between older and newer for there to be that disconnect. I think it was more like 2013 to like 2016 was like this huge disconnect, and right around 2017, 2018ish, like I don't know, everybody started caring a little more, and it was very nice.
You know what I'm thinking
Um,
of? I'm thinking of raves itself being like, 2010 was like this, and then never mind.
yes,
We're talking
for
about
sure.
gloving. So yeah,
Yes.
but yes,
Yeah.
gloving 2013, and then like how you said. So
Yeah, so and I'm very glad to see a lot of older heads like getting involved, like, people from our generation jump who've been doing this 10, 12 years. Or maybe not like fully doing it, but like have been like involved and like have considered yourself a Glover for that entire time in some capacity.
I'm still
Uh,
doing it.
right. I'm saying at least in some capacity or in a full capacity, whatever. But either way, it's very nice to see more older heads getting involved, and it's great. And I hope that things like this uh, provide inspiration for more of them to do so, because I think it's a great way for OGs to get involved without having to necessarily give light shows. For those that don't want to give light shows, but want to be involved, I know that's not you, Jump. I know you're ready to give light shows. I'm well aware. Well aware. I'm ready
Me
too.
too.
I'm ready. See, I think we all are, especially after all these videos and of all these amazing Glovers. And we're literally in round 1. We're not even in round 2 yet. And this has already been amazing. So I'm very grateful for all this.
I find it back to how gloving is evolving and such. I find it interesting how you in the gloving community there's such a variety of styles, impacts, or people that focus on tutting, or people that are like I remember when Teddy, it was not San Francisco, the other place that we went to. There was an event,
San Diego.
San Diego, and there was someone that was whacking, like she was whacking with her gloves. And
She also competed at 4KC as well.
right, so you're seeing like these dance styles, more different variety of dance styles are being incorporated, with gloving. And I guess I'm just kind of curious of where will this go? Where will gloving just continue to branch out, and or will it eventually become something else? Like, will something be born from the gloving community and it'll become its own thing? What are your thoughts on that?
I'd actually like to jump in on this one. I think that the main catalyst in this is something new to make with light, right? Let's take a look at clusters, and we've talked about this in one of our other roundtables before. Clusters is a way to make dots on a piece of paper with light,
Nice.
and it's a way to make those dots move into different shapes and draw different things with those dots in those shapes. You can draw that 10 point. You can draw the horizontal, the vertical, and I'm sure Freebie will put some nice clusters from our wonderful round 1 competitors over me, so that I'm over me while I'm doing this. But it's an idea of painting something or creating something new, and whacking definitely does that. I think there's a lot of circles to create, and there's a lot of drawing to create with there's a lot of drawing to create with with whacking, and a lot of similarity to draw with whips and flails as well. So I hope that more Glovers pull from that, because I think it is definitely an untapped concept resource. But on that, I actually want to make sure we don't go too heavy because we could definitely talk forever on this. But we're gonna close it out here for today. Lump, Lust, Jump, thank you so much for everything. For this group, we appreciate you guys. Animated J, thank you as always. We'll see you guys for the rest of round 1 as well as the rest of GFC. Thanks again.